Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Good afternoon, Cheryl. I'm Don Hennigan.
And I'm Chrissy Hathaway.
Continuing in our line of science specials this afternoon, we have a treat for you. With us today is genetics consultant Janet Walker.
Genetics consultant Janet Walker is a researcher at Stark Industries and is kept on as a retainer for the president.
Janet Walker was the lead consultant for the cloning of Dolly. Dolly was a Dorset sheep born in February 1997. Later on, we will show a video of when Dolly was first born.
Passing on to you now, Janet Walker.
Hey guys, I'm here to talk about animal cloning. Animal cloning has been around since the 1800s. It was discovered by a man named Hans Driesch, who did not intend to clone any animals, but was simply trying to prove that genetic material is not lost during cell division. Animal cloning was brought to a lot of people's attention when Dolly the sheep was cloned. Animal cloning is the process in which an exact copy of an already living animal or embryo is created. There are three types of cloning: reproductive cloning, gene cloning, and therapeutic cloning. Cloning of an animal can be done via either embryo splitting or nuclear transfer. Embryo splitting is the process in which an early embryo is separated into two or more parts. Each part of the embryo has the potential to develop into a blastocyst, which can then be implanted and possibly form into a child or an animal. This is the same way that genetically identical twins are formed naturally. Nuclear transfer is done with the use of two cells. The recipient cell is usually an unfertilized egg taken soon after ovulation has occurred. Once properly stimulated, the egg begins to develop and the genetic material in the egg is removed. A donor cell is then fused with the egg and is ready to be implanted into a surrogate mother. Although the process for cloning is known and can create a healthy living clone, the rate for getting an actual living healthy clone is quite low. About 2% of cloning attempts result in living clones that are healthy. Some people think that cloning is unnatural, but there are naturally occurring clones all over the world. Identical twins are naturally occurring clones, and some plants reproduce asexually, creating new plants with identical DNA. So there you have it, a brief overview of animal cloning.
Back with Janet, we have a few more questions. Our first question is, what is the purpose of cloning?
Some of the more practical purposes of cloning are for medical reasons and reviving endangered species or extinct species. Or you could even revive an old pet.
And how can cloning be used for medical reasons?
Cloning can be used for medical reasons such as stem cell research, farming for drug production, and models of disease. From cloning stem cells, it might be possible to use them to repair damaged or diseased organ tissues. Farming is the use of farm animals being genetically engineered to produce drugs or proteins that are useful in medicine. Models of disease is the use of animal models which are genetically engineered to carry disease-causing mutations.
What is gene cloning?
Gene cloning is a replication of DNA fragments by the use of self-replicating genetic material. It is used to make copies of certain genes for the purpose of studying them. Having many copies of a particular gene comes in handy when used for research purposes.
And what is reproductive cloning?
Reproductive cloning is creating an exact copy of an animal. This can be used to create copies of deceased prized animals.
What is therapeutic cloning?
Well, Dawn, therapeutic cloning involves creating copies of cells that can be used for research purposes and to help improve medical condition. These cells come from cloning an embryo and using it to grow cells.
And that wraps it up for questions. Thank you for your time, Janet.
Hi, I'm Veronica Corningstone, and I am broadcasting live here from Roseland Institute. It is July 5th, 1996, and a miracle has happened today. I'm here with Dolly the sheep. Now this just isn't any sheep, but the first mammal to have been successfully cloned from an adult cell. Only 148 days ago, this sheep was conceived from a cell cell of a ewe's udder in an unfertilized egg. The genetic information was taken from a cell from a 6-year-old Finn Dorset's white sheep's udder and inserted into an unfertilized egg from a Scottish blackface ewe. This was then implanted into a surrogate ewe, and after a mere 277 attempts, the miracle sheep was born. This is considered to be a major scientific breakthrough, considering DNA from an adult cell can now be used to create an entire organism. Tests have been done, and blood work has been taken, and there is no reason to believe that the sheep shall not survive. It is believed that Dolly shall go on and be a healthy, fertile, and happy sheep. And that's all I have for you today, folks. Back to you.
Well, wasn't that exciting? We sure have come a long way in the world of animal cloning.
We sure have. Another cloning story, a Holstein bull named Starbuck was recently cloned from his own skin tissues.
All the way to Quebec, we have our news reporter, Veronica Corningstone, the farm where Starbuck 2, Starbuck's clone, now resides.
Hi Veronica, how is Starbuck doing?
Hello, I'm Veronica Corningstone, and I'm here broadcasting live from the Quebec Artificial Insemination Center. Here behind me is a very special bull named Starbuck 2. Starbuck 2 is a successful clone of the original Starbuck Holstein bull. Starbuck 2 was cloned from the skin tissues of the bull, which were brought to life by volts of electricity. He was the first bull to successfully be cloned from skin cells rather than the embryonic cells in Canada. The original Starbuck was the greatest Holstein sire in recent history. Starbuck was a sire to more than 200,000 calves, and they had a high degree of dairiness. It has now been 2 years after Starbuck has passed away, but the legend lives on with his clone. The bull is healthy and had good tests, and every sign indicates he will be as capable as the original. It costs about $50,000 to clone the Holstein and has an extremely low success rate. The cost and inability to produce an animal in a timely and efficient manner makes widespread commercial use unlikely. It took 68 attempts to successfully clone Starbuck 2. Many pregnancies end in miscarriages, and other times the calves die shortly after the birth, or they suffer serious abnormalities. The causes of these deaths are unknown at this time. The production of female clone Holsteins are even more unlikely. Only 20 females can be produced a year in comparison to 2,000 bulls that can be produced. But who knows where cloning will take us in the near future? Back to you, Dawn and Chrissy.
That is one fine-looking bull. Well, there you have it, folks. Some news from the world of genetics.
Tomorrow we will inform you about bringing back an extinct species of frog. Believe it or not, it swallows its babies and then regurgitates them. Yes, you did hear that from us correctly.
And that's it for today. Join us again tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
I'm Douglas Hennigan.
And I'm Chrissy Hathaway.
Stay classy, Trevor.
Veronica Corningstone, and I'm here broadcasting live from the Quebec Artificial Insemination Center. Here behind me... Oh God, it's Peter. Does this have an udder? Do you think they'll know that this is a girl?
A Holstein bull named Starbuck was recently cloned from his skin tissue.